Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am creating a project for my design team work for Denise Boddey Designs. Everything that I use in the production of this card will be linked in the description box below. Okay, so today I'm going to make a shaker card, and it's going to be 5 1/4 inches square, so I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4 by 10 1/2. Now this base is 300 GSM smooth white cardstock. I like to use a fairly solid cardstock for my card bases. Now I'm going to score this at 5 1/4. And I'm going to fold that over, making sure I've got it nice and square. Then I'm going to use my bone folder to just burnish that fold. Okay, so that's my card base. Now I'm going to cut my shaker section out of the front, and I'm going to have it top opening, so it'll sit like that. And I'm going to cut the centre out of this front section of my card. So I'll position that as centrally as I can get it without getting my ruler out, and I'll just take that in place because of course I'm going to have to open that out and run that through my big shot. So I'll go and do that and then I will be back. Okay, so I've cut that out of there, so that's the front of my card. And I've also cut a piece of old cardboard to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then I have indented, like I ran that through with that, and I've indented where that needs to be cut. So I'm going to use my knife and my ruler. Hopefully, actually what I think I might do is draw it first so it's a bit easier. Okay, so now hopefully that will sit behind that without being seen. Now I'm going to use some washi tape to seal off the edges. So I'm going to run this around the outside, just lay that down there. I probably should add some glue under this, trim that off, run a little bead of glue along there, and then fold that over. Wipe. Wipe that down. And do the same for and then I'm going to do the inside as well. So I'm going to run a bead of glue there and put a little row of tape there. Then I'm going to turn that over and run a bead of glue along there and fold that in. Just going to click that and fold that over so that I've got my piece of cardboard covered with something that is not bright blue basically. So you don't need to watch me do that all the way around, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and do that off camera and I'll come back when it's all done. I'm going to use these scrapbook.com transparencies to cover my frame. You can see I've covered it with the washi tape. So I'm going to, how wide? Let's have a look. Now I'm going to need 2 of these, one for each side of the frame. So they are 5 inches wide, so I'll cut it 5 inches deep. I'll do 2. Well, let me check first that that is the right size. That's perfect. So I'll cut another one. So what is this? It's a, oh no, I don't know how many in the pack, but there seems to be quite a few. So I'll cut this one to 5 inches square as well. Okay, so I'm going to run a bead of glue around this on one side. Now I'm going to put a fair amount of glue on here. I'm not just going to put a single bead, I'm going to sort of fill the whole thing in as much as possible because I want this to stick really firmly. And I have had times before when the transparency will peel off of glue. But I'm going to try again. So now I'm going to make sure my fingers, every time I use transparency I get glue on it. I was hoping that today might be a little different, but obviously not. So, okay, I'm going to put that down on there and position that as best I can. Okay, I'm just going to give that a few minutes to dry. And then, okay, so I'm going to let that dry, and when it's dry I'll come back. Now while I'm waiting for that to dry, I thought I would put my background paper on. I think I'm going to go for that section there, so I'm going to cut that 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to use my distressing tool and I'm going to distress the edges of this. And then I'm going to take a Versacolor black ink cube and I'm going to ink around the edges like so. So I'm going to do that to all 4 edges. Okay, so I've done the edges of that, and I've put 2 rows of tape on the back, and I'm going to also use some glue on this, and I'm going to stick this on my background. So that I'm going to run my glue around the edge. And then pop that into that background of that card. So it's completely covering the background. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this now onto there. Okay, so I'm going to stick the side with the acetate against the front of the card, and I'm going to make sure that I've got no frame showing down the bottom. It won't matter if I can see a bit of it at the top here, because I will be decorating up there. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to add a layer of glue here. And I'm going to put this on here. Trying not to show any. I'm showing a bit there. A bit better if I go that way. Yes, I think I'll do it like that. And you can see that there's a little gap there. I'm going to use that. I'm going to score along that so that this is going to sit flat over this frame. So stick that down like so. Being art glue to glue, it doesn't take that long to grab. Okay. Now, I'm going to use my bone folder and I'm going to put up under there and see if I can't score along the edge of that frame. Okay, so that's going to give me a little ridge there, like that. That can So there we have that. Okay, so next thing we have to do is put our shakers in and put our other acetate on the top of that. So I'm going to find something that I want to put in here, and when I've got that I'll be back. Okay, so I've got these uniquely creative sequins. They're called crystalline sequins. And I'm going to use some of those in there if they are not too big. I'll just put a few in there. Then put this over the top. Let's see how it goes. Yes, they look like they'll move around still, so I think I've got enough in there. Okay, so now I'm going to run a bead of glue around here. We want to make sure that we've got the whole area covered in glue, because if we don't, then our sequins will find their way out. Nothing surer. Make sure I haven't got glue on my fingers, and position this down on there. Well, way too much glue there. Try and wipe it to the outside instead of the inside. Luckily enough, glitter glue does dry clear. But as usual, my acetate is a mess. Okay, so next trick is to let that dry, which I am going to do. Okay, so now I'm going to start to decorate my card. Firstly, I'm going to put one of these across there and one down the side like so. And I'm only going to attach them on the cardstock because we are going to be able to see everything from the back. So I need to keep that in mind when I'm attaching my bits and pieces. So some glue on this. So I'm just going to put it on the top section. So only, what's going on here? Like so. And I'm going to pop that up there like that. And I'm going to do the same for this one, but I'm going to run it down the side. So I'm just going to put some glue on these pieces here. And I'll put a little dot of glue up on this piece as well. Like so. Okay. So that's just a little bit of a decoration for the background. Now I'm going to use a whole heap. I've got lots and lots of fussy cuts here from, these pieces come from this die here, and that is called Flower Background 01. And that's from Denise's shop. And everything that I've got I'm using on here I'll put links to in the description box, so that if you're interested in having a look at them you can. So now I've got all of these fussy cut pieces that I'm going to use to decorate So these fussy cut pieces are from Denise's various paper collections, and actually I think I might put, well, I can put a piece of cheesecloth behind it, or I could put a little bit of lace. So I'll find some lace. Yeah, well, that's going to cover the whole thing, isn't it? So there's not really much point putting that big piece of lace on. Okay, so I might just put a piece of cheesecloth, although I have got some nice tulle here that you can see through. So I think I might use a bit of that. I'm just going to cut some. Let's find a pair of bigger scissors and cut a piece. So that's just some white, nice soft tulle. I'm going to I might just stick that down there, sort of gathered up like that. Okay, to start, let me get a stamping block and just pop on top of that for now until that glue catches. While I'm doing that, let's have a look what we've got here. We've got, this is a flower I've made with one of Denise's dies. I'll get that and show you in a minute. And so is that one, so I could use that one. And what else do I want to put in there? As you can see, there's big choices. Big choices. I'm quite partial to these burgundy flowers, but because if I'm going to use those, I do want some others as well. Okay, so I could put that. I can't, I'd have to cut that one off because otherwise there's too much of it hanging over. It might be too big. It might be too big. What about this one? I could pop something like that there. Just across the top like so. Well, I've got this one, which more of these type of leaves, I think. Go there. use that one on there as a dimensional flower, I think. What do we think of that? Okay, so I'm going to ink these up. Just put this on fast forward and ink and glue all of my pieces that I'm going to put on the front. So I'll come back when I've completed that. Okay, so now I'm quite happy with that, but I'm not happy with the inside. I want to do something to cover this up a little. So what I plan on doing there is maybe putting a row of lace. Well, first of all, I should, do I want to cover, let's have a look. I could cut a piece of this 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 and then cut the square out of it so that it completely covers up that frame and hides that gluey part. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just trying to decide whether I'll do it with the pattern paper. Actually, I might do it with that side of the pattern paper. Yes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to use the same die that I used for the front, and I'm going to cut that square out of the middle, and then I'm going to stick that frame on there. And then I need to do something about this because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't like to show the back, and really, you know, the front of it's really pretty. We've got our sequins in our shaker and an house decoration, a bit of tulle in there. So I think it would be a shame to leave that back like that. So the other thing I could do would be, once I've got my frame on there, well, I have to make sure that whatever I put on there didn't overlap the front and show through the front. So I could, you know, I could put something like that on there which disguises it very well. I could even, you know, put, I've got some extra leaves there, I could put a leaf there and some leaves down here. That would cover that up pretty well actually. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Put that on there like that. If I put that on there like that, can't really see that from the front. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to go off and do that. I'm going to cut a frame out of this, and then I'm going to ink and attach that. So I'll go and do that, or I'll go and cut the frame and then I'll cut. Okay, so I've cut my frame and I've inked around it with my black ink. You might notice that this ledge here, or this leg, is slightly thinner than these. That is the piece that's going to go to the bottom so that my card can close properly. So I'm going to run some glue around here. I want to try and get it as close as I can to the edges, but I don't want to have too much on there because you know what will happen, it'll ooze out. So I'm trying to just use thin lines of glue. Okay, so thinnest section to the bottom, and the rest should be good. So I'm trying to line it up perfectly with the frame and the outside of the card. that's good. I can't see it from the outside, so that's a bonus. Now I'm going to add this. Now I have inked around this as well, and I'm going to put that on there like so. So if I put that on like that, it doesn't really show from the front, and the little bit that does show is not really that noticeable. I'm going to try and do it something like that. Okay, so some glue. Once again, I want a reasonable amount on there, but I don't want to overdo it. And I'm going to bring that sort of across like that. Put that down there. Yes, that's fine. And then these leaves I'm going to bring in there. Just lift that up a little bit. Put some glue on this. Tuck them in there. So that I am basically covering up the white bits down here. Okay, so if we have a look at it from the front, it looks pretty good. We can't see any white from the back. And if we have a look at it from the back, we can see a little bit of the white, but nothing too bad. Okay, so we've got our nice little shaker element that is completely clear, so you can see right through that. See my fingers there. I will clean up that acetate with a wipe when everything is nice and dry, and so probably tomorrow. And so now, and that stands up perfectly like so. So now I'm thinking about a sentiment. So I've got a whole heap of pre-cut and pre-stamped sentiments, and I'm going to go and find one of those. Okay, so I've found this little bow, and I've made it with this die here. It makes 3 different size bows. I've got a collection of them in there that I've already made, and I'm going to attach one of these just at the bottom of this flower. So just sort of tucked in there like so. Now I did say that I would tell you the die that I used to create that flower, and I'll also link in the description box a video that shows how I made it. This is the die. It's from Denise, and it's a Primrose it's called, and it comes a stamp and a die set at a really reasonable price. And on this one I didn't use the stamp, I just used the die, cut it out of the pattern paper and shaped it and assembled it like so. Now I'm going to use this tiny little happy birthday stamp. Oh, I've stamped it and heat embossed it. This is a stamp from Woodware, I think, and if I can find it I'll link it in the description box below. And it comes a stamp and a die. Yeah, I can't really remember the name of it, but I'll have a look and put it in the description box. It comes with a lot of different sayings. I'm just going to pop that about there. You could, I could have mounted that on some foam or a piece of, cardboard, but I'm quite happy with it to be flat because I've got enough dimension on there. I've got that tulle back in there behind there. Can't really see that, but there's some of it poking out here and there, which is just something, a little bit of texture and frou-frou. So there we have it. That's my card for today. I really love the fact that this is see-through, and when it's standing up you can't really get a good picture of it at this angle with the camera up there. So yeah, anyway, that's my card for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you're not already a subscriber, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I hope you can join me for my next video. Okay, bye.